El pasado 22 de septiembre se realizó una rueda de prensa en el Zoológico de San Antonio, Texas, en el marco del lanzamiento de la Fundación To Soar, que se dedica a crear experiencias curativas personalizadas para niños afectados por la adicción a las drogas o víctima de la trata de personas a la que sus padres han estado expuestos.
Thank you for gathering with us as we gather to take a stand against the impact of drug addiction and human trafficking and the impact it has against children. We are excited to have each one of you. My name is Elsa Ezel, and I am the founder, along with my co-partner, Cecilia Robinson, of an organization called To Soar, Healing the Next Generation. Our first speaker today is Dr. Hernandez. He is the superintendent of Edgewood. Would you come on up here, sir?
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody that was involved with the development of this day. So thank you for this opportunity. So obviously I'm coming in to speak on behalf of those of us that are in the education sector. Obviously for us, our work every day is about educating and bringing awareness to a multitude of platforms that are given to us. But obviously this is one that was particularly important to me because it's so germane to the work that I do in the everyday of the school system. But obviously in the schools, we see the effects of these type of goings on in our neighborhoods, and obviously it afflicts our cities, our states, our nation. And so for me, this is very important and personal because my work is to educate. My work is to help people find their way through such challenges that they're facing at home. Obviously, we see them in the schools. And so our work continues to be, and we stand right aside this group and say we will take a stand to support the work that we do, not just with addiction, but also making sure that we help our families heal socially and emotionally, because there's obviously other peripheral things that bring folks to this place in their life. So again, I thank you for the opportunity to speak to this platform. I would ask other people to join this effort because obviously it is important to our families. And this is obviously a subject matter that we don't need to shy away from. We need to talk about it because when we don't talk about it, then it sickens people. It affects families. It affects overall the work that we do in our great country and our state. So thank you to everybody that allowed me to speak this afternoon, and I will turn it on to the next person. Thank you.
I'm excited to tell you about this man here. He is an advocate for children born and unborn. And we're excited to have him here today, Mark Reggio.
One of the things that we always look at in the legislature is, the way that I look at it is, how does spending affect the families? What are we going to do? As I look over the crowd today, it seems like everybody here, how many of you here were raised in a good, stable family? I think pretty much all of us, pretty much. And so we can appreciate family. We can always go home to family. I remember we were looking at some abortion issues at the legislature, and my mother, she was about 80 some years old at the time, and I says, Mom, this is one of the issues that we have to deal with. I remember I was number 4 of 10 children, and there was 4 boys right off the top, and so my mother understood children. She says, Mom, what do you think about this issue? And she started to cry. She says, Mark, I don't know how on the faces of the earth that anybody could ever even think of harming a child or doing something negative to a child or abandoning a child. I can't comprehend that. She says, I have 10 precious gems from God, and each one of you are very precious to me. And we're like quivers. The children, the family are like the arrows, the quivers in an arrow, and you just send them forth into the future. And what this organization is doing, why I fell in love with it, because they're sending our future, the children, to the future with hope. We have hope and we have justice. And so what she's doing is just that, because she's protecting what's coming behind us. And I'm so grateful for that. If you look at any society in the world, any society, the family is the bedrock of any true society. If you have strong families, you're going to have a strong country. If you have weak families, you're going to have a weak country. And this organization is helping to build strong families and a strong country.
This next person I want to introduce to you, he created Goya Gives Initiative. He supported hundreds of nonprofits. And I want to introduce to you Bob Unanue.
Wow, I'm just so proud. Elsa, Charles, Cecilia, God has chosen each one of us. And I have to say, before I came up here, and I never knew Brittany or William, but I felt that they're here. And they're here because of loving parents and the inspiration for what you've done, and it takes an incredible amount of courage, because every child has value. And what's happening in our society today, our children aren't feeling valued. They're committing suicide. There's a story a few months ago of a child, 14 years old, child, right? Her girlfriend is dating this boy. They break up, and so she likes the boyfriend, so they want to start dating. Well, she starts getting bullied. She starts getting bullied, and it was relentless. And then she finally got this selfie from this group, maybe 10 people, whatever it was. They said, "Here we all are, except for you." And she killed herself. Why? Because she didn't feel valued. And it only takes one of those kids in that group to have the courage to stand up and say, "Leave her alone." And they can save a life. We are the biggest consumers of sex trafficking. Houston is one of the biggest cities. Atlanta, Mexico is one of the biggest providers, but you have 150 nations coming across that border. But every single life has value. And that's really what is behind Meant to Soar. Not only to achieve a potential, but to be valued. If we can value each other, if we can step out behind, away from the selfie, and care more about the other person, and that's is what Cecilia, Elsa, and Charles have done. And I know they're going to soar themselves, and they're going to soar with Brittany and William. It takes, we can't solve this problem. I mean, there's thousands, millions of kids coming across the border. It's a $250 billion business. We can't fight that. You can't take away, in the movie Aladdin, the genie said to Aladdin, "Never drink from the cup of money or power, you'll never be satisfied." So unfortunately in this world, the only thing that can take away greed and hate is love and God. And so as a nation, we have to move closer to God, and step by step, by one organization with incredible hearts that are going to make a difference. We're not going to defeat this, taking in I'd love to take in every child, right? But we're only going to defeat it by caring for the other person and making a difference, sending out that message. And if there's so many good people out there that we get the message, and we got to get the message to the children, to the parents, to the teachers. We're trying to get into the schools, and you all are going to do an incredible job. By your example of love, you are going to change hearts, and we're going to get rid of this problem. We're going to do it. If not only our nation is at risk, our souls are at risk, and this world is at risk. So God bless you all, and congratulations. So proud of you all.
Goya Cares, thank you very much. Goya asked Charles and I if we would be willing to share the story of our daughter. And so Goya Cares created a documentary telling the story of our daughter.
I had the honor of meeting the Estelle family last year. I am a film and television producer, and I expect over a year working on a documentary for Goya Foods with their Goya Cares initiative, in which the Elsa family participate by sharing their daughter's story. Rita. I remember I was looking for survivors of human trafficking and some expert, but God always chooses for us, taking an spectator until I meet Elsa and Charles. It is a story told with respect for the memory of their daughter, but also showing a horrified reality that young people are exposed to. The message aims to raise awareness within our community and prevent other young people from losing their lives. My group of filmmakers executed an extraordinary job in keeping up with my fast pace and high expectation. They searched for the most fitting actors and took care of every detail of the story to dignify the life of Brita and her parents, Charles and Elsa. During the filming, the first person who healed personal process was me. It was a miracle in my life. I'm sure it will be a miracle in many more lives. I have been close to the Goya family for 4 years, and it's an honor to learn from their business culture, but even more so from the purpose and big heart of their president and CEO, Bob Unanue, who is also the founder of Goya Cares, as well as their entire team. I hope you can enjoy us this Sunday at 2:30 and 5 p.m. to watch this documentary at the University Incarnate Word. I'm happy for men to soar. I will be a beacon of hope that will help save many lives. Elsa and Charles have been fathers whom I admire, and they have all my love. Thank you.
The national survey shows that there's 1 in 8 children under the age of 17 who live in a household of parents who have passed substance abuse. Do you know that's 8.7 million children? That's an astounding number, and it should not be. Just comprehend that fact. 8.7 million children. It says 1 in 10 children, that's 7.5 million, live in a household where at least one parent has alcohol use disorder. 2.1 million live in household where at least one parent has illicit drug disorder. This was the national survey back in 2014. Those numbers are different today. They're much higher. It shouldn't be. I'm a mom who lost my daughter to both drug addiction and human trafficking. Today I'm raising my grandchildren, and I have seen firsthand the wounding of a heart and what a child goes through when they lose their children to addiction and human trafficking. And my grandchildren have been with us from early on. And I want you to know that my children are the best case scenario. That's a hard thing to say, and that's a hard thing to hear. Best case scenario. But they are the best case scenario. And yet, the suffering and the struggling that I have to work through with them, it's not fair. There is a real crisis in America. The wall structure of family is broken. I have to tell you this other statistic. I'm not a statistic girl, my husband is. I'm not, I hate them. But right here in San Antonio, last year, 5,373 children confirmed cases of children abused and neglected last year. Those were confirmed cases. Do you know how many more children are living every day in circumstances not confirmed? It would be easier for Cecilia and I to choose not to start this foundation called Meant to Soar. It would be easier for me to have tea parties. I love having tea parties and doing Bible studies. It would be easier for me to spend the day with my grandchildren walking the zoo. But we've seen and know the reality, and we can't turn back, of the condition of the hearts of the children that don't have the opportunity. And because every time I go to a corporate meeting with my husband, I sit next to this man who says, Elsa, we have to take care of the children. He says that. That's not just a motto, Goya cares. But I want you to know he really means it. He's a man that loves people. He loves children. He's not just a famous man. He's a genuine man who loves kids. He walks out the walk that he says. And he said, Elsa, go do it. And it's not just Cecilia and I, it's all of you guys like Pat and Ann Wiesner and Mark, who when I sat and talked with Mark, he ran back to his office and he told everybody about Meant to Soar. We can't do it, just the two of us. It requires the city and the community coming together. We have to rebuild the structure and the wall, protecting our children. And it's not just San Antonio. Bob told me, Elsa, don't think small. Don't think small. It's too big. The problem's too big. We're just getting started. We are a new foundation. We are called Meant to Soar, and our intention is to heal the next generation. There is a sea of children, not just in San Antonio, and there is a reason Dr. Hernandez was here. He is the lowest income area in San Antonio, and he has turned that area around. But I want you to know that the drug addiction isn't just in the lowest income area in San Antonio. You can live in Alamo Heights, Stone Oak, Bulverde. Drug addiction is knocking on everybody's back door. My daughter, we lived in a nice neighborhood. She went to college. And it was on the first day of college, somebody dropped a pill in her glass, and she was drugged. And she couldn't get over the fact that she was raped on the first day of college. And in one semester, I lost my daughter to drug addiction, and she was being sold on the back of Craigslist. And that sent our family on a 6-year journey that about just took my life. But it didn't. And today, we're going to help save children's lives. So please join us. Thank you for coming.
Amigos, me encuentro con Bob Unanue, CEO y presidente de Goya Foods y fundador de la iniciativa Goya Cares. Nos encontramos en San Antonio, Texas, precisamente en el marco de la celebración del lanzamiento de Meant to Soar, que es una organización sin fines de lucro, una non-profit de Charles, de Elsa, de Cecilia, quienes son los fundadores y tiene un gran propósito. Hoy nos acompaña Bob. Bob, muchísimas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros y cuéntanos acerca de tu presencia y por supuesto de todo el apoyo que has dado a Meant to Soar. ¿Por qué hoy nos acompañas?
Bueno, en primer lugar, Charles, el esposo de Elsa, y trabaja con nosotros y nos contaron una vez la historia de su hija, que fue en el primer día de la universidad, fue endrogada y lo metieron en tráfico de sexo. Y al final de 6 años fue matado. Entonces es una historia tan duro y difícil. Y Elsa y Charles han criado los hijos de Brittany. Y entonces nos acercaron sobre lo que quería hacer Elsa era que el corazón, el alma de Brittany siguiera a través de una organización que se llama To Soar, destinado a volar. Entonces, la cosa importante es que cada vida tiene valor. Es una sola vida. Y nosotros tenemos que dejar el selfie, tenemos que amar al prójimo como uno ama a uno mismo. Y hay una falta de eso. Y la única forma de vencer al odio, a la división, es con amor y fe en Dios. Y nosotros estamos llamados a querer, a importar, a valorar la vida de los demás. Si nosotros podemos hacer eso, entonces cada uno puede sentir el valor. Entonces podemos eliminar el suicidio, podemos eliminar tantos problemas de drogas que existen en el mundo hoy en día.
Me encuentro con Elsa Essel, quien precisamente es la CEO, presidenta y fundadora de To Soar. Estamos muy honrados, Elsa, de tenerte no solamente en el programa, sino en esta acción que está cambiando e impactando vidas, Elsa. Muchísimas gracias. Elsa, what inspired the creation of To Soar as a non-profit organization?
Well, I would probably say just the life, living and experiencing what unfortunately was the tragedy of losing my daughter.
Elsa, and what specific causes or issues does To Soar focus addressing?
Well, we have seen firsthand in raising our grandchildren the trauma of children having to lose their parents to drug addiction and human trafficking. And then seeing other grandparents, adopted parents, and foster parents raising children who have had to walk in a world of addiction and human trafficking. And it shouldn't have to be that way. But unfortunately, there is an epidemic in our world where children are introduced to things that they shouldn't have to be so young.
Does To Soar collaborate with other organizations or partners to achieve its goals?
Yes, we do. There will be many organizations that To Soar will partner with. There's grandparents raising grandchildren, the Bereavement Center, and many more. We will collaborate with Goya Cares and many different organizations that have any organization that has children's care.
Thank you, Elsa. And final word for the audience.
Yes, I have to say that this is an epidemic where we have to rebuild the safety of children, and it cannot be done by 2 women. Cecilia Robinson and myself, Elsa Ezel, are the founders of To Soar, and we cannot save the plight of the hearts of children by 2 women. It takes a community. In fact, it takes the United States. We all have to stand together. People have to care for the heart and the woundedness of the children. If we're not looking behind the smiling faces of children, because you think that a child is smiling, that they're okay, they're not okay. And you know who knows they're not okay? The predators. And they're going after our children. We have to care and we have to take care of them.
Thank you so much, Elsa. Ya lo escucharon, amigos, los depredadores están en todas partes. Es tan importante tener la información precisa y además contar con organizaciones sin fines de lucro que ayuden a las familias a entender este problema que está acechando a muchos jóvenes. Ese mismo fin de semana de septiembre se realizó una premiere del documental Víctimas, donde Elsa Essel, fundadora de To Soar, compartió junto a su esposo Charles Essel en un documental de Goya Cares la desgarradora historia de su hija Brittany, quien fue víctima de trata de personas y adicción, con la intención de alertar a nuestra comunidad de cuáles son las señales que los padres pueden detectar a tiempo en sus hijos y salvar sus vidas.
What a delightful film, first of all, to make us aware of what we as an individual can do. It's a very heavy film, but it is a good film because it addresses the issue and it gives us the ability that we as an individual, one person, can dedicate our time, our energy, and our love and our resources to these children ages 6 to 13, to be able to mold them and to let them know that God loves them and He has a good future for them.
Become aware of what's going on in society and to become aware of what we can do to just be more aware in how to support our children and our grandchildren and what we can do to combat this problem.
It shows, the society that we are living in and the people that take advantage of our children. And we all need to step up and do our part.
I hate this. I hate my life. I'm never gonna...
Press pause, Mateo. I'm you, years from now. And let me tell you, life turned out pretty good, man. I know you can't see it now, but all these feelings you have in the moment you're in right now, it's nothing more than that. A tiny moment. God chose you for a purpose. Just take a breath. Press pause.
Goya cares because you are a precious gift from God.